Hello. Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Hey, hi, Rama. Hi, Anuja. Hi, Karan. Hi, Radhika. So let's just start. Just give me 2 minutes. Yeah, hi, everyone. Did you all get a chance to practice on the assignment that I shared with all of you? Any question that you would like to ask? Sure, Rama, please tell me.
Yeah. So I mean, I just saw in under create while creating a table, we are using a Go command. So I mean, what's the use of Go command?
See, Go is just, what happened is that if I just show you over here. So like what it happens is like when we execute the command in a batch. So
Oh,
batch as in, when we are, if you see over here, so there are sometimes what we do is we use a semicolon that, this is where our first command is over and then the second command is starting.
okay.
Okay. So just to give that differentiation, you can either use a semicolon or you can use a go command to tell that, okay, this is one command that is completed and now the second command is starting from here. And
Okay.
then go means now this gets executed and then this command executes. Because what
Okay.
happens is, when you execute multiple commands, together. So if there are no, these stoppers, so what happens is SQL tries to execute all the commands in one go.
Okay.
Okay, so it will try to create this table also and this table also together. It's like, if
Okay.
you are, there is no uh, colon that is given, so it will try to create these two tables together. And if
Okay.
the two tables have some connecting points between them, so definitely the tables are getting connected together, so created together in one go, it can create a problem. So that is why what we do is we put the semicolons if you are executing all the things in one go.
Okay. So instead of semicolon, we can use Go also. Is that
Right, right.
okay? And I mean, we are using constraint. I mean, in table house, right? So it is to restrict the number of rows in the table, or
Sorry.
in table house there is a constraint. A constraint. So
So basically, what we're doing over here is, we are making a primary key on the
okay,
basis of two columns over here.
okay,
right? So like if you see house ID HSC and customer ID HSC. So one is like, what you can do is you can specify that, okay, this column I would like to make a primary key.
Okay.
But in this case, what is now going to happen is one standalone column, now this house ID will become a primary key. But
Okay.
what we have rather done is we want to keep house ID and customer ID, both of them to be as unique, so that it should not happen that, same in the same house we are having two customers, or maybe two customers are given the same house ID, they are having the same house IDs. So we can add a constraint. Constraint is like, because although if you create a primary key at that time also a constraint is created, and you will be able to see the constraints over here.
Okay.
So like, in the tables where we create the primary key, by default over there also there is a constraint created, or you can create a constraint by writing that down as well.
Okay.
That constraint, you give a name to that constraint, and what type of a constraint is it? Is it a primary key or a unique key? You write that, and then you
Okay.
give the name of the column.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, one more question, Amit. So, I mean, we are using alias name, right? So, group, while using group by, we can't use that alias name. We should use the original term what it was in the table. We can't use the alias name while using group by.
You cannot use the alias name in the group by.
Okay. Okay. That's it. That's it.
Right? Remember the logic that we discussed? SQL, the complete that how the query processes. First, it processes the from,
Yes.
then it
Yes.
processes so
Yeah.
select
Logic
is
syntax. Logical syntax.
logical syntax, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now, I would like to give you all a task. Okay, so let's see if you are able. How will you do it?
I did only four queries, so actually it took a lot of time for me to write a query. So I just did four.
So what we can do is we can maybe try it today also, and if there are still any questions, we can discuss them tomorrow.
Okay.
That's all. Suppose this is the table that I have. This is the data that is given to me. Okay. Now there are 5 employees who are working in the company A, B, C, D, E. Manager of A is B. Okay, manager of A is B, manager of B is C, and for CDE, the manager is A. Okay, now this is the data that is given to us, correct? What I want to do is I want to generate an output. This is the employee name. This is the manager name. Okay, so employee name was ABCDE. And over here now what should happen is I should get the name of the manager now. This is what I want to achieve. This is the table in which the information is given to me, and this is the output that I want to generate. So how we will do it? Right? I hope the question is clear. See, let me tell you. So this is a question. This is a question based on a concept which is called as self join. Where self join means this is a situation where we create the join to itself, right? So where what we do is we create a join with the same table. If you see right now, if this is a table 1 that is given to you, and just imagine this is a table 2. Okay. Now, don't you think that because you are able to generate the same output from the same from one table only, right? Because if you see over here, what do we have? We have IDs and name given to us, and this ID that is given to me. So this is nothing. This ID has to be matched. This manager ID has to be matched with this name. Okay, 2 means A, 2 means B, 3 means C, and 1 means A. Right? This is exactly because from the same table we are able to generate the output. Right? So this is what is called as a self join. So self join is not a specific or any other type of a join. It's a name given to a concept where the same table is used twice in order to create the join. And the type of join that you use is that could be inner, left, or right, whatever you want. I hope you are able to get it. So now let's see how do we attempt it. So let's come to this. So what I'll do over here is let me create a table. Let's call it as employees. And we'll have 3 columns in it. One will be employee ID, employee name, and we will have manager ID. This is integer. This is character. And this is again integer. So I'll share this with you. So you can all create this, please. Okay. So now I will select star from so I can see this output. What I will do is I'll call this table as E. Then I use inner join and inner join with the same table and I'll call it as M. So first time I'm calling it as an employee table. Next time I'm calling it as a manager table. Right? I'll just try to think it from here. Now the same table I have given as an input. At one point in time, I'm calling this table as E. And this time I'm calling this table as M. I guess now you can do it. So right, Radhika, E dot EMP ID equal to M dot manager ID, or I can say E dot manager ID equal to M dot EMP ID. I can use any one of the logic. Any one of the logic can be used. So if I come over here, I can say on E dot EID equal to M dot MID. Right? So if I run this now we can see all the columns have been generated. This is the employee name. Sorry, this is the manager name and this is the employee name. Right? So what I can do now is I don't need to keep all the columns. I just need to keep two columns. So E dot E name as manager, comma M dot E name as employee. Right? Please, I hope you all are clear on this. So this is, this is what we have broadly in the joins, right? So how we join multiple tables, various conditions, how we can, basically grouping and do apply where clause and sorting, all those things we have seen. Now, if suppose you want to save the output, right? Any select statement that you write, and you want to save that output into a new table, right? For example, this is the query that you have written, and you want to save this output into a new SQL table. So how do you do that? So for that, what we do is we simply say we use the command that is into. Okay, into command is used. It's very simple. Any select statement that you write, any statement, if you will say select ename this before from, if you will write into and the name of the new table, suppose manager employee. Now this into command, what it does is, by this SQL understand that you are trying to create a new table by the name of manager employee, in which the output of the select statement will be saved. So if I execute it, you see 5 rows is affected. That means my table is created. Now if I will say select start from manager employee, now this is a new table that I have created. Now this is a data that physically exists now. Okay. Now, in SQL, we also have a concept of some temporary tables. So temporary tables, basically the tables that exist for a period of time. Right now, these are some temporary tables that you can create. Suppose, sometimes while creating it, say, because we know that any table that we create, right, if whenever we try to store data physically in the form of a tables in databases, that table takes some memory. Okay, that table takes some memory on your hard drive, and as more and more data or more and more tables will be created, it is definitely going to increase the space that they all would be taking, and as a result of which it can impact the overall performance of the reporting or the queries that you will write. Now, in order to take care of certain things, so sometimes you just have to create some tables for just for understanding, or just for some temporary basis, basically where you want to make some see how the data will look like. And after that, what will happen is you will have to delete the data, or you will plan to drop the table. Now, what we can do rather is we can create some temporary tables which will get automatically deleted, right? These tables get automatically deleted. And when do they get deleted? Let me show you. See, basically we have two type of temporary tables. We have local temp table. We have global temp table. Okay. These are two type of temporary tables that we have. Local temp table exists till the SQL session is open. And it is available in the same SQL session. So let me tell you what do I mean by this. See, this is a session that is open right now. This is one session, okay, where you are writing the queries. This is second session. This is third session. So right now on my system, on my SQL server, there are three sessions that are open right now. Okay, there are three sessions that are open right now. One session is this, another is this, and a third is this. Now, if you will create a local temporary table, if you will create a local temporary table, that table will only be available in this session. And the moment you will close this session, the table will be automatically deleted. The table will get dropped from the system. Okay, that is what we mean by temporary table. Now, what we do is, if I come over here and if I say create table, if I write a create table command, and if I use a hash, and you can give any name, right? You can give any name to the table. Let me give the name table as temp. Now I'm saying create table hash temp, and let me add two columns in it. One would be ID, another would be employee name, which is character. Now this table that I'm creating, okay, this table that I'm creating over here, now this is a local temporary table. Okay, now this is a local temporary table. So if I will say select start from hash temp, see, now this table will work like exactly like the way we use the other tables, right? I'll have to insert some data. I can use this table for joins. I can use this table for, grouping, anything, right? All the things that we have learned. And where will you be able to see this table? Just refresh your the complete database. You know, in your system databases, if you will come under the temp DB, under the temporary tables, this is where you will find the hash temp table. Now the temporary tables are not created in your database, they are created in the temp DB, the system database that comes pre-installed.
When this will be required? In which case the temporary tables will be required?
Sorry?
When the temporary tables will be required?
See, now it totally depends on the requirement. See, sometimes what happens is that developers, while they import the data, so they know that the data that they would be importing from data source, that data will not be clean, right? That data will have a lot of missing values, columns, additional columns, which will not be required. So what they do is they load the data into a temporary table, so that now what they will do is they will start cleaning it and they will start processing the data, and finally the cleaned version of the data they will be storing in a permanent table. So they will not have to keep on removing those tables by writing the command. These tables will get automatically deleted.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes it also happens that we are trying to create a logic and the logic can go a little complex. So in that process also, what we can do is we can create temporary tables by writing the queries into short, in small bunches and saving their output in the temporary tables. And then we finally, when we are able to produce our result, so these tables will be automatically deleted.
Okay.
See, now this table that I have created.
So when you say it exists till the same SQL session is open, so does let's say we're working on it today, and tomorrow when we come back, SQL gets disconnected, and we have to.
No, I'm just telling you that point. So now if you see, I am in this session right now. This is one session that is opened. Now this is another session. Okay, now in this session, what I can do is I can work on any other database that I want. Suppose I say use banking. Now this is another window that is open now. Okay, if you see now, in this window, I am working on the banking database. In this window, I am working on the Intuit's database, right? These are two separate sessions. Now, where did I get the table? That table was created in this session. If I come in this session right now, and if I say, select start from hash temp, that table is not accessible over here. That table is not available in this, right? Invalid objective. That table is only available in this window, nowhere else. Okay. Now what I do is, if I let me just save this.
So in order to work on this temp table, we need to connect to which Intuits or master or
No, that database is created in the temp DB. You don't need to mention anything. You don't need to mention anything. The temporary table is created in this session, the session that is open right now.
okay.
So go by the name temporary table. Now this is something that will get automatically created. It is not associated to any database or anything. It gets created in the temp database, which comes as a default inbuilt database in the SQL Server. And now this table will exist till this session is open. This session that where we have created this. Now what will happen is, if suppose I close this session, done, and let me refresh this, table gone. Now the table is no more existing because it was existing only in that session where it was created.
So if we keep the session open and if the database engine gets disconnected, the next table.
If it get disconnected again, the table will be gone.
Okay.
You keep that open and you disconnect it. So again, that table is gone.
Okay.
Okay. Now, same way you have another table that is global. Now, when we talk of global tables, tables exist till all SQL sessions are open. Okay. And secondly, it is available in all the sessions. Now, what do I mean by this? Now, this over here, what we did was, this was local temp table. Now, what I'm going to do over here is, I'm going to create a global temp table. And how do we create a global temp table? You simply say create table. Instead of using single hash, you will use double hash. If I say temp and I use ID, I'm saying this is integer, name, and this is character. Okay. Now this table that I'll be creating over here, now this will be a global temporary table. Okay, so if I say now select star from hash temp, see I can write this query on this table over here also. If I go into the second session, I say select star from hash temp. It is available over here also. If I go into the third session, it is available over here also. Now that global temporary table is available everywhere. Now, if I'll close all the sessions, when all the sessions will be closed, or I'd say when I will be closing down the complete SQL Server, the complete connection only, then that table will be deleted. Till the time that table will be available. And you can now see hashes temp has been created over here. So the life of global is more and it is usable in other sessions also. And temporary table, the life is also small and it is also only available in the same session where it was created. Okay.
Hi, Amit.
Huh?
In temp database, we have one option as tables, and then we have another as temporary tables, where our temporary tables are stored.
Hmm.
What is used
So,
tables folder?
this, if you want to, create some permanent tables can be created over here under the temp DB tables. And if you will create a temporary table, it will be created over here. So for example, if I say use temp DB, right? Now I'm using a temp DB. What I'll do now is if I'll come over here, I create a table. Let me call it as sample table. Right now, if I'll create this, now this table is something that will be created under tables. Oh, sorry. Actually, this database was different. You see, this table is created over here. Now, this is a permanent table. All the name of the database is temporary DB because this database is created because it will be helping you to hold the temporary tables that you will create. But now when you use that database and you create a normal table, now this is created over here in the temp DB. Now, even if I close my SQL session and anytime I come back and anytime I will be using temp DB, I will be able to access this table. So this is like a permanent table. But when you create any temporary tables, they will be created over here in this folder by default.
Okay, so then I think the use of this temp DB, this permanent tables here would be probably we do some calculation and save it here till we have the final clean file ready. Is that why it's used?
Sorry, can you come again, please?
I'm saying what is then the use of this table I can only think of is that maybe when we do some cleansing of data, we just save some of those tables as permanent tables so that we can come back and use it again.
No, but why will you save any permanent tables over here? Right? Because for permanent table, I will be using my own database.
Right.
Like if I already have my Intuit database for saving any permanent data, I will use this database. But by default, if I have to store something temporarily, not temporary data should be actually temporary data is something that is by default, which is saved over here in the temp DB only. Right now, because if you will see that these four databases that you see, the four databases that you see over here, now these are system database. Now these are something that are created by the SQL Server itself, which are required for its functioning. Right? Master database is something that has all the data related to the where that how the database is being managed, how the data is being stored, all the queries that we write, all their logics are written over here. Right? So technically, what we do is we never use these databases to store any of our project related data. For project related data, we always create our own database, and that is where we store the data. Right? And by default, when you are creating a temporary table, now that temporary table as a property will be saved in temp DB, which will get deleted automatically if it's a local based on that based on the type of table that you would have created and its properties, the table will be deleted. So that is why. So it is just this temp DB is providing us a feature where SQL is helping us to store the temporary tables. Got it?
Yeah. So if we use into in this, you said we can create a new table by using into. So if we use into in this sort of statement, will it, we again have to use hash to create temporary table?
So if you want to create a temporary table, you can use hash. Like for example, over here, I wrote a query. Now, if I say select this, let me first use my correct database. Now if I say into hash manager employee, now the moment I write hash manager employee, now by this SQL will understand that this table is a temporary table. This is a local temporary table. Now if I run this query, and if I come over here in the temp DB, let me refresh it. Now you can see that table is created. So if I say select star from hash manager employee, now this is a temporary table. Now if suppose the moment I close this session, this table will be deleted.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Now clear?
Yes, thank you.
Amit, I have a doubt. Like you just told that we don't use system databases to store our permanent data, right?
Right, right.
Then why there are tables under the tempdb? Like
See,
all are temporary tables you said, which we store it at. Then why tables and temporary tables both?
in order to try to understand, so what I was saying is, you just try to take a look at it. These are system databases, correct?
Yeah.
Now database, just now forget about system or it's our own project based database, right? It's a database, the first and the foremost. And database have the properties that the tables are created in them, in which the data is stored, right? So that is why this database is going to have all those features. These data system databases are going to have all those features where you will be able to, where you should be able to create the tables and you should be able to store the data. They will have that feature, right?
Okay.
That is why we see that option of tables over here, because if you will see, if I'll expand any one of these system databases like master, see now you will not see temporary tables in this, because this database is not being used for storing the temporary data. Temporary data is being used only for being stored only in the temp DB. Now that is how the complete functionality of this system is created, that if you will now create any temporary table, that by default will get created over here. Now that is why we are calling it a system database system, that how the system is going to manage and help you work with the complete SQL Server database system, right? So if you see now in the master, I do not have the temporary table option. Now
Yeah.
just see all the options: tables, views, synonyms, programmability, service broker. Now these are all the properties of a database, and the same properties will be visible to you for any other database also that I'll pick. Now this is a system, this is a database that I have created. You see database diagram, table, views, external resources, programmability, service broker. The same options are available over here.
So those tables under tempdb is the system tables which they created for tempdb.
Right, right.
Okay. Temporary tables are where we store our temporary data.
Yes, temporary for this information that you don't want to store permanently, you store that in the temporary tables, and temporary tables by default, they will be created in the temp DB.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now we are going to talk about subqueries, right? Now subquery is something that stands for a query within a query. Okay, that is something that is called as a subquery. So when we talk of subqueries, what we do is, see anything. So what is the command that we use for DQL? So which command do we use in DQL? If you remember, that is select, right? If you remember, we talked about DML commands, right? We talked about DDL commands. We talked about DCL command. Now DQL was under DQL, which stands for data query language. In data query language, we just have one single command with us, and that is select. Okay, we just have one single command, that is select. Now, what we do is basically, if I write a query which goes like select star from orders. It fetches the complete data for me. Okay, now DQL stands for this. Now subquery means when you write another query within a query, that is something that is called as a subquery. Now in subquery we have two queries now. Like for example, if I write this above query as this, select star from, and over here I say select star from orders. Okay, now you will see over here there are two queries that are being written. One query is this where I am saying select star from orders, and one query is this outer one where I am saying select star from this. Okay, now what happens in this case is this query becomes the inner query, and on top of that, outside this, that becomes the outer query. Okay, so there are two queries that are there now. One is inner query and this is outer query. Now whenever you are writing a query within a query, so there are two queries that are created now, and we have those queries as inner query and outer query. Whenever you have such a situation, so what happens in that case is inner query is executed first and then the outer query. Okay, first the inner query will be executed and then the outer query. Like for example, in this case, first of all, this query will be executed. Now I am saying select star from whatever will be the output of this, whatever will be the output of this query, that will be used as an input for the outer query. Where I'm saying select star from, so select star from what? Whatever is the output of this query. Okay. Now the question comes in, like although you know this query that I've given you, this is not making a lot of sense right now because this is the same query that is select star from orders. This was just to show you that how a inner query will look, a sub query will look like, in which we have some inner query and an outer query. Now over here, what I'll be doing is, let me tell you the reasons that why subqueries are required. Subqueries, you know, will be useful at places where, you know, complex logic is required. Subqueries will be useful where certain properties of SQL fail. Okay, and subqueries will be required to replace joins. I will not say replace or you know instead of joins. So you will be able to use subqueries instead of joins also. Okay, but generally we do not do that, right? So you will be able to generate most of the outputs that we generate with the help of joins. They can be generated with subqueries also, but we never do that, you know, because subqueries are slower, right? So the subqueries are bad. Subqueries are bad for the performance. So from the performance perspective, joins are better. Okay. Now, if I come over here, let me just first of all give you the first, you know, the example over here by which you will be able to understand it. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to write a query where I want to fetch the data of all from the orders table for all those products where the sales was more than average, right? I want to see only that data where the sales of the product was more than the average sale. Okay. Now what will happen is, like this is something that we were discussing in the session, I guess in the last week also, maybe in the yesterday's session. If I say select star from orders and I write where sales is more than average of sales, now this query is not going to work, right? This query is going to give me an error. And this is something we know that, because we are using a where clause, right? Because we are using a where clause is not capable of calculating the aggregation. Where clause cannot do the aggregation calculations. Okay, but logically you might say that, this query is correct, that logically it is making a lot of sense, but syntax wise what is happening is, because there is an aggregation that is happening and where clause cannot do that aggregation, the query fails and query gives you an error. Okay, but what if I try to write this query individually? Okay, like if I say right now, if I run this query, this is going to give me an error. Aggregate cannot appear in the where clause, right? But if I come over here, I say select average of price, average of sales from orders, this query works. This query will work, and it tells me that the average sale was $229. Okay. Now if I write the same query, instead of using a formula, if I write this number, I want to select all the data from orders where sale is more than this. Will it work? Yes, it will work. It gives me all the data where the sale is more than 229. And what was 229? 229 was the average sale. Right now I get only that data where the sale is more than average. So what is the challenge with this? What is the problem with this query?
If we add more data, it might change, the average might change.
Right. So if you, now this is static. Tomorrow if your new data comes in, first you will have to calculate it. You will have to fetch the data and you will update that number over here then, and then you will be able to run this query. So in order to overcome this, I will use the concept of subquery. Now, how was this number coming? This number was coming with the help of this query. So what I'll do is I'll write that query over here itself. Okay, now I've written select star from order where sales is more than select average sales from orders. Now there are two things. This is an inner query and then we have an outer query. And I have told you that when you have a subquery, first of all, the inner query gets executed. When the inner query will be executed, it will give you the same number. The output of this will be this. Now this output will be used as an input for the outer query. Now I am saying select star from orders where sale is more than 229, which has come up because of the execution of this. So now if I execute the same query, this is going to work. And I get the same output.
Hey, Amit, I have a question. So right now, this is able to calculate average of sales, given that it will select the entire column of sales and then it will create an average value. So what if there is a blank in that column of sales? And after that blank, there is further data down. So till where does it calculate? Like till the blank?
So blank is coming where? In the last?
In the sales. No, in the sales and between the sales column, somewhere there is a. So when it calculates the average, does it calculate only till where the data is blank or?
No. So if suppose, okay, so I get it. So you are saying, suppose in this column of sales, right, certain places there is a null. That null is given over here, null is given over here, and null is given over here, right?
Blank, yeah.
So it is not going to ignore it. Suppose it has 10,000 rows of data. So it is, and out of those 10,000 rows, at 20 places there was a null. So it is not going to ignore it. It is going to consider that as 0.
Okay.
Okay.
So it will still, so till where will it take the data? The whole sales column? Like,
The sales will be calculated for the whole sales column.
even if there are blanks, it will still keep going further down and.
So it takes the, it is, see, if, for example, if I come up over here, let me show you. So this is the table that I have. Select star from orders. Okay. Now if you will see, let me do one thing. The sale value is 14.62. There are some sales that are given to. Let me do one thing. Let me update the data. Update orders. Set sales equals null. Where order ID equal to okay. So if I'll now show you the data, I've inserted a null over here. Okay. Now if I calculate the sales column, the average of the sales or the sum of the sales, it is going to calculate the sum and average for the entire column. And wherever it is null, it will treat it as 0. That it is a 0 value over here. Now if I calculate the average, if you see slight in the decimal, there is a small change that has happened. Otherwise, it's exactly the same because it was a very small number that I changed, 14.
Same for count, that it will still
Same for count. So if you count it, so if you say select count of stars from orders, or maybe let's write sales. It gives you 99888 rows. And if you will select from here, then no, sorry, in the sales, in the count, it is going to ignore that null column, null
Yeah.
value.
Got it.
Okay. But if you will write, instead of sales, if you will write asterisk, then it is going to count all the rows. That is 9989. Okay. So now, so we are over here. So is this query making sense? How we have written it? It's just the logic that we are creating. Sub queries are more about logic only that we write. I hope this part is made clear. Okay. Now let's test our subquery skills further. Write a query to get the actual sales, right? Remember, this is something that we did yesterday. We had written a query to get the actual sales without joins now. So you have to write a query to get the actual sale, right? Sales, that is total sales minus the sales that was returned. That will give me the actual sale. Can you now write a query? You don't have to use a join. Right? So if you see now, let's try to write it so that just to give you a hint. See, if I say select star from orders where order ID not in select order ID from returns will it give me the result. See, I am saying which all order IDs were returned. Now these are the orders that were returned, correct? I am saying give me entire data from orders where order ID is not in. I don't want to have those order IDs which are available in this list, that is these order IDs. If I run this now, right, it gives me the information. Now this is the data of those orders which were not returned. And if I calculate the sales of this, if I say sum of sales, this is going to give me the total sales of this. Yes.
Hi, Amit. Can you please explain the use of not in again?
See, in you remember we use in,
Yes.
right? So like if suppose I am saying select star from orders where category or maybe where state in. Now if I say where state in Texas, that means I am trying to fetch the data where state is Texas now. I want to fetch the data for state Texas only. So it gives me the data where state will be all Texas. If I say where state in Texas or Florida, this is going to fetch the data for me in which the states will be either Texas or Florida. Right. So if you will now see the data, I would have got for state this and both of them. Right. So you can see Florida also. If I say not in, not means where the state is not Texas or not Florida. Except these, every other data will come.
Okay.
Right. Now
Right.
you will see I won't have the data for Texas or Florida over here. I would have rather all the other states.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Got it.
So this is the same thing that we've done over here. I want to fetch all those orders which are not in this list. So which will be those and which are not returned.
Right. Huh.
Right.
Right.
So this is, and then we fetch a sales of that.
And for using AND statement in this in, like Texas and Florida, I know that won't happen here because it's only one.
Inside in, so you're saying inside this in operator?
Yeah.
No, you can. So in is like or operator. By default, it's like or, like where the state is Texas or Florida. You cannot use and inside it.
Amit, this in working just like sorry, yeah.
No, not like. Like is something that we use for approximate words.
Okay.
So in is like or operator, where see otherwise I would have written this statement like this: select star from orders where state equal to Florida or state equal to Texas. This is what I would have written. In order to write this thing multiple times, we are using in operator.
Okay.
Okay. So now can you all write a query to fetch the data of orders, to fetch the complete data of orders that were returned. Right, so what I need to do now is I want to fetch the complete data of the orders that were returned. So how will I do it? So yeah, right, Radhika. So this is, instead of not in, I will use in that case. Right. Okay. So can you all now write a query to find the maximum sales? Write a query to find the highest sales. What was the highest sales value? Right. So simple query, right? Simple max of sales from orders, right? Now the reason that I asked you to write this query was because on this we have the second next question. Now you have to write a query to find the second highest sales. So for finding the highest sales, it's a simple, right? Select max of sales. Now what I would like to do is I would like to find out what was the second highest sales.
This one was there in our first assignment, and I was not able to finish that one. Today I wanted to ask the same question.
Oh, okay. Okay. So see, it's a consider subqueries that we need to use. So basically what you try to do is, suppose if I say, let me explain you this. So if I say select max of sales from orders, it gives me the highest value. Now if I say select the max of sales from orders where sales is less than this number, right? I'm saying I want to select the maximum sales where the sale should be less than this number. And this number was any which way is the highest sale. So I'm going to get the second highest sale in this case, right? I'm saying where the sale should be less than this number. So this gives me the second highest sale. So that is what we have to write, where sale is less than, select max sales from orders. That's it. So right. No, Radhika, so that is not will work. So max sale minus 1 is it will subtract that from there. So if you write this one over here, so that you've written as right? So it is just subtracted the 1 from there.
Amit, for this query, can you tell me how to do that? I tried to do the same query which you wrote here, but it was giving me, all the department, which have it should display only 2 or 3 employee details, but it was displaying me all the employee details which have more than that lowest budget.
No, in that case, you might want to use select star command, I guess. Can you share the
No, 1 second. I think I wrote.
So the question that you're trying to ask, the question that you are asking this? So we have to give the select the name and the last name, the name, first name, the last name of the employees working for departments. Oh, this is simple, right? So again, the same logic has to be applied.
I think I used something like this.
Sorry.
This was the one which I used, but it was giving me, not from that particular department, but it was giving me all the departments which have the lowest,
So you want to find from the second lowest budget, right?
Yeah, only from that particular department. The second lowest budget department.
What we will do in this case is,
Is my question clear or?
no, so this is the question that you have shared. This one, the select the name and the last name of the employees working for the second minimum, this department, but the
Yes,
budget
yes,
is the second lowest department.
yes.
So what we need to do is first we need to find out that budget, the department. So that would be select minimum of budget from the departments.
77 department.
Sorry.
The 77 department, the research department.
So if you will put that up, so you'll get that budget over the, if you just put this also, we actually have to use the group by statement as well. Just classes, can you just give me 1 minute? Can you just give me a quick 5 minutes? Actually my pet is, I just need, can you give me just 5 minutes over here?
Okay.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Actually, this I have a pet and he was just getting a little bit of a mess. So I have to take him down. I'm really sorry to keep you all waiting. Yeah. So we were discussing on this question. So select minimum budget. Okay. So what I do over here is I just simply say where the budget is more than. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just pick this up. Right. So now what this is going to do for me is this is going to give me the second highest budget. But my requirement is I would like to rather pick up the department code. Right. So the department code that I have is that would be, I can say code. So this, not the code, I would say, other than, so let's pick up the code only. So basically there are a couple of, where budget is, no, there is something wrong that we have done. Because it is now giving me all the departments now, because the idea is I have to just pick up the one
Only
with the
department, yeah.
only the second one. Right. One second. So I'll go in this.
So Amit, if instead of budget, we use another subquery, select minimum budget. And if there are two subqueries, which subquery will the SQL run first?
Sorry.
If there are instead of budget, if we write where budget, instead of budget, if we write select select minimum budget.
But that will give me only the. I mean, we want to pick up this budget, right? Where it is research.
Yes. We want to pick up code 77. So at of the budget 55,000 because that is second lowest. So instead of budget, if we write minimum budget, select where minimum budget.
In this, this will give me the budget.
Not here. That should be code only, but where budget?
In where
This?
we can't use minimum, I think.
Yeah.
I can't use minimum over here. I can't use minimum because this is a where clause, right? So I can't use aggregate function in this. Okay. Let me say. So this gives me 55,000. Now what I can do is select from department where budget is equal to this. Okay. That gives me 77. So there are two subqueries that I've written. So I'm saying, first of all, I've selected the second minimum budget. That gives me this. So now I'm saying I want to pick up the code where budget is equal to this number. That is the second highest budget that we have. Okay. Right. So this is how I am able to get it. That this will now give me the code. Now what I have to do is I have to just pick up the employees, select a star from employees, where what's that column name? Where department. Where department is equal to this. So little bit of a lengthy part, but yeah, this is how I will be able to get it. So these are 2 employees from the second highest department,
Okay.
right? So a lot of subqueries in this. We are done 1, 2, and 3 subqueries. So first the inner subquery will be executed, this part, which will give me the second lowest budget. I mean the lowest budget. Then from here I get the second lowest budget. Then I pick up the code and then I compare it to the department. Right. So I can share this with all of you. Right. So this is how you will attempt that question now.
Yeah, thanks, Amit.
So tomorrow what I'll do is tomorrow, I'll give you some more questions, some subgrouping and how we will be using the subqueries in the grouping, where also you will see some interesting, the applications of this, right? So this is what we'll discuss tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll also then start off with the functions in the SQL. So that is how we will keep the things. Okay. Okay, then see you all tomorrow. Then, and you can also practice on the questions that I've given you. They're good quality of questions, so we can discuss on them as well tomorrow if you will have any doubts. Yeah, sure. Anusha, let me do it today. I'll share the material today. So actually, I just had to need to club it all. So, but today I'll do it for sure.
Okay, thank you. Because there are so many functions which are not, explained in the classes. So I just want to go through.
Sure, I'll do it.
Thank you.
I'll definitely do it today.